quick announcement before we get started. Start thinking about your answers and start typing those, start thinking about your questions that you want answers to about the Smoothie Shred Challenge. Start typing them in the comment, and I'm going to start answering them in just a few moments. We've got an announcement. So a lot of you have asked a lot of medical type questions. That means that you or someone you know are suffering from certain symptoms of a disease or an illness. And you're asking questions about how to reverse it, or can the smoothies help, or what do you do in a certain situation? And the answer to that is actually coming up. If you can hold out until January 21st, that's when Brooke is going to be doing her 6 Steps to Healing, world famous webinar series that she does. It's 100% for free, where she's literally going to be teaching you step by step how we have reversed the diseases of literally hundreds of people all over the globe. And we're not going to hold back in the information on how to do it. So at the end of her presentation, though, she holds a Q&A, a live Q&A, and it usually goes for an hour and a half every single time. And that's where you have an opportunity to ask your medical or disease-related questions right there, and she'll answer them for her. In fact, she doesn't stop until she's answered every last question. So if you're not suffering too bad right now and you can hold out to then, that's the free way to do it. Otherwise, if you're really struggling with a disease or a symptom or an illness, then you want to get yourself over to goodbyelupus.com and book yourself an appointment as quickly as possible. Okay, first question, Elizabeth Bell. I know bloat is involved. Does it minimize a bit as the body gets used to all the greens and water and increase exercise? I am literally bringing a larger change of clothes when I go out. The question is, we don't really know because you might be eating some foods that are just going to keep bloating you. So the way to do this, the way to kind of get around it, is to experiment. In my body, what I find is like there's certain fruits that are serious culprits to bloating. And when I swap in and out certain fruits, my bloating goes down. So you've got to discover what that is. I know for me, pineapple, berries, what else? Pineapple and berries are the two big ones for strawberries. I mean, strawberries particularly. For some reason, when I eat a lot of strawberries, I bloat up as well. But watermelon is perfect. Grapes are amazing for me. Mango, I do just perfectly fine on. Another thing to try, Elizabeth, is also changing up how much smoothie per sitting that you drink. So for me, this is 30 ounces. This is about the maximum I can drink before I start to bloat out. So it doesn't matter what I have in my smoothie. But if I drink more than about 30 ounces at a time, I'm going to start getting bloated. It might be like more than my digestive system can handle. I don't know. I don't really care what the reason is. I just know that when I do 30 or more, then I typically start bloating. So what you want to do, try this experiment as well. Try doing half of the amount of smoothie. Let 30 minutes to an hour go by. Do the other half and see if that doesn't make a dramatic difference. You know, the thing about bloating is that if you stumble upon the cure or the cause, then you know immediately. It's not something that you have to do for 2 to 3 weeks to find out if the result that you want appears. You'll know it right away. It allows you to be able to test a lot of different scenarios to see which is going to work out for you. I'm going to be dropping next week's guidelines today. So you'll see a nice little image. It'll show you the guidelines. We are going to step it up a little bit. I'll have a little explanation of what the guidelines mean, but it's pretty simple to follow. I mean, there's only 4 steps when it comes to these guidelines. Okay, Stacy, my girlfriend has been adding ACV in her smoothies to help with weight loss. Is this really necessary? Stacy, I need you. I don't know what ACV is, so if you could, help me out there. But I'll tell you right now, it's not necessary, because what takes body fat off of your body better than anything that's out there, better than any supplement you could possibly take, is just simply hardcore, consistent, and frequent exercise. I mean, there's just nothing that takes it off faster. You want to be focusing on the fat loss exercise, and when you do the smoothies and the high metabolism stuff combined, then you accelerate that. I mean, the only reason I say it is because look, put your ACV strategy up against me and my clients on like the vegan tummy tightener. We'll smoke you every single time, and we're only using grocery store bought food and exercise. Julie Moisey. Hi, Thomas. I've been doing smoothies since August and been mostly following Dr. G's healing protocol. Definitely whole food plant-based. I have lost over 20 pounds and want to lose another 20, but I'm still not well enough to exercise regularly. What advice do you have? Well, I would experiment and I would test. So there's ways to get exercise in that's not necessarily having to go to the gym and do bench presses and squats. There's ways that you can do body weight stuff and calisthenics that whether you're sick or not, you can still do. What you want to do is, Julie, you want to always be pushing your limits as often as you possibly can, because every time you get conditioned, you get stronger, you're going to have a new limit. And what a lot of people do, and I think this is the biggest reason why so many people plateau whenever they're trying to lose weight or try to dramatically transform their body, is that they go super hard in the beginning and they don't progress rapidly enough. What I mean by that is, like, they're not increasing their weights, they're not increasing the number of sets that they do per workout, they're not increasing their intensity, they're not decreasing their rest. They're pretty much doing the same thing because their mind says, look, we're going all out, and after about 4 weeks of doing this, even though we're stronger, even though we have better endurance, we still feel like what we're doing is hard. So we're not going to push it. We're not going to increase it that much higher. And that's a big mistake, because your body just simply doesn't need to adapt anymore by getting you stronger and giving you better endurance and losing body fat. It doesn't need to adapt anymore if you're not putting a consistently increasing demand on it. So you've got to constantly be pushing at your maximum level all the time. So the best thing to do is document all your workouts, and when you document your workouts, you should be seeing a dramatic increase. Like if you go to myveganbodytransformation.com, if you go to it's a YouTube channel I created, and I bought that little URL to make it easy for people to go and find it. If you go there, then you will see my progression over about 46 days of doing bodybuilding, muscle building. And you'll notice in that 46-day period, I never had a single day where I went to the gym that I did not set a new personal record. So my advice to clients that I work with is that if you're not setting a personal record in the gym, either in the form of strength, endurance, volume, workout density, if you're not setting a new best, and it's been within the first 3 months of exercise, if you're not setting a new personal best every week, you're not working hard enough. So always increase it so that way your body is forced to adapt. Stacy, apple cider vinegar. No, it's not necessary at all. Sarah Swagger, is canned or jar fruit okay if it's in water or fruit juice? Yep. For our smoothies, it's absolutely okay, because we're not relying on the nutrients that we're getting out of the fruit. We're only using the fruit really as flavor, but we're keeping all of the sugar content as low as possible, and we're trying to keep it coming as natural as possible. And also we do want the added fiber that comes with it. Joyce Tompkins, like Julie, I'm in the same boat. Can you give me an idea of where to start exercising with very little muscle or just weights? Yes. What you're going to do, Joyce, is you're going to go to smoothieshred.com, and then you're going to click on videos. And then under videos, you're going to see HIIT cardio training tutorial. That's how to do cardio. So that means you could do it with walking and jogging and running and any other form of cardio you can think of. Then you are going to go over to doing what it takes to work out anywhere, anytime. That's showing you creative ways to hack exercise into your everyday life. And then you're going to go check out Vegan Tummy Tightener at Home Workout. And that's a workout that is pulled straight out of one of the days of my 10-day Vegan Tummy Tightener program. So check that out. Do any variation or combination of the exercises that are in there. They're going to do great for you, especially when you're just getting started. If you're not a hardcore exerciser, even just one of the little routines that are in there are going to do great for you. And even if you did them at 50% effort, they're going to do fantastic for you, because it's probably going to be 200% more than what you're used to doing. So that's going to create a result for you. Okay, coming back to Stacy, what if Julie does something like Pilates and yoga. It's not going to work. It's just, there's just not enough intensity. It'll work if you're coming, it'll work for maybe a few days or a few weeks if you're coming straight off of the couch, but it's just not enough muscular engagement hard enough and long enough to be able to produce a significant result. That's why, I mean, I don't mean to insult anybody, but it's just a fact. There's just a lot of obese yoga instructors out there. And when I say a lot, I mean, when you compare the different type of physical athletes that are out there that are training, like you go to a CrossFit gym and you line up all the top CrossFit athletes and trainers next to a yoga studio, and you line up all the yoga studios, there's a big difference in the physiques because there's a huge difference in the amount, the intensity, and the duration of the exercise. I've trained a lot of yoga instructors, like really famous yoga instructors, back when I used to work at the Sports Club LA. I mean, a lot of the yoga instructors used to go to the club. They used to be instructors at the club over there. But a lot of them were my clients too, because number one, doing yoga for 8 hours a day, you start creating repetitive stress on a lot of your joints and muscles, and so it can be very damaging when you do a lot of it. And the second thing too is the yoga itself is just not enough to create a rapid reduction in body fat. It's not something that you do to create a reduction in body composition, but it's something that is useful for recovery. So you got to use the right tool for the result that you're looking for. If you want to lose body fat, then you got to be focusing on tools that are designed for body fat. Use our workouts because that I give you for free, because they're designed specifically for body fat, like to get the fat off your body in the shortest time possible. But when you use yoga for body fat, I mean, it's like kind of using a butter knife to screw a screw into a stud. It's just, I mean, you might be able to do it, but it's going to take an unusual amount of effort and a crazy amount of time. And there's just way, way faster and better ways to accomplish the same thing. I mean, in fact, I don't even think yoga, I don't think yoga is even, it's just an inefficient tool to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish for body fat. HIIT is high intensity training. That's correct. You got that, Stacy. Pam Rubin, if you're not in shape, how can you build up to your free videos without hurting yourself? Pam, I love you. It's so good to see you online. Pam was a boot camp client of mine back in the day when I had a big boot camp in Orange County. So let's go back to one of these videos. When you look at it, in the videos themselves, every one of them are exercise. Every exercise in every video I create are exercises that you get to regulate the intensity of. So you do what you can. It's as simple as that. So let's use running as an example. Let's say you're so out of shape you can't run. It doesn't matter, because the act of walking is the same movement pattern as running for the most part. And then as you increase the intensity of walking, it turns into a jog. And as you increase the intensity of a jog, it turns into a run. And then when you increase the intensity of a run, it turns into a sprint. So there's a gradient. There is a line of intensity, and you just go to whatever's the best for you. I mean, the idea is when you're exercising to lose fat, you go as hard as you can. Now, if as hard as you can is a jog next to somebody else's all-out sprint, that's perfect. As long as you're always hitting as close to your maximum ability as possible, you're fine. Now, things like running and exercise, what I'm going to do is just refer you to use what your nervous system has given you as a gift, and that is pain. So when you feel too much pain or discomfort that you just don't feel comfortable with, then make that your maximum level, or just set your maximum level just below that. Because what's going to happen is you're going to get stronger. You're going to have a higher tolerance to pain. Your body and your joints are going to get conditioned to be able to take on more without getting hurt. And you're going to notice that you're going to just naturally start to do more. So you just do the best you can, and wherever that level is for you, just go by your own intuition and comfort, but always be stepping it up, because if you're not getting stronger, then you know for a fact you didn't do enough. If you are getting stronger, well, then you're going to have to step it up even more. When it comes to exercise and working out, when you think about the first week that you work out, remember how for a lot of you, if you've ever done a workout program before, usually it's the first week to 2 weeks that are the most brutal. Everybody talks about it being so brutal, right? And then it gets easier. The moment it becomes easier is when it starts to become less effective for you. So that's why you always have to be stepping up your game so it always feels, quote, brutal. Now, everybody's version of brutal is going to be different. And that's the whole point I'm trying to make here is that you have a relative tolerance to exercise intensity. And you always want to be hitting it at the highest level that you personally can have and tolerate, okay? What about swimming labs? I am trying to get active, but swimming laps. Okay, I am trying to get active, but because of neurological issues, I can't walk or run. I think swimming is great. I think swimming is fantastic. I think that would be a perfect solution to be able to get high intensity interval cardio in, considering your situation. Fantastic. And if anybody else, if you need extra help on this, you need extra support, feel free to DM me or contact me. We do have personal training services available from one of our resident trainers. She's gone through all of our education, taken all of our courses, and we can help you remotely online. And if we can't, then we'll let you know. Okay, Rowan. I have steroid-induced diabetes. Should I be concerned about the fruit sugar content in my smoothies? Okay, Rowan, I can't answer that question for you, but if you ask it on January 21st during the live Q&A of the 6 steps to healing with supermarket foods, I'm pretty sure that Brooke would be able to answer that for you. Now, if this is an urgent matter, then get on goodbyelupus.com and get your appointment booked as quickly as possible. Okay, Elizabeth, as we try to increase our 50% exercise to say 75% for something like walking, would you recommend focusing on intensity or time? Same distance or faster time? I am one of those who is really out of shape. And the answer is actually you can focus on any of them, and you can focus on the combination of them. It doesn't matter. So you can increase your time by an extra 25%. You can increase your intensity by an extra 25%. You can increase the density of exercise that you do in the same amount of time by 25%. It doesn't matter. I'm going to say choose whatever is most convenient for you. How do I feel about Rebounders? I have plenty of folks that use Rebounders. All that matters is that you're able to get a maximum intensity out of it. So there are so many different exercises you can do on a rebounder, and as long as you're really pushing your body to the point where your heart rate's going through the roof, you're dropping tons of sweat, then that'll work just fine. How does the Chia Flaxseed high fat content help in weight loss? What is the purpose of such high fat content added to the smoothie? Is it to help absorb the nutrients of the greens? Well, you've actually got part of the answer correct there. There's a lot of fat soluble vitamins that what that means is they can only be transported into your system if you have fat, because the fat has to basically carry it through. And without the fat, you're not going to be able to do that. But what you're going to do to find a really good answer to that is you go to videos, and right here, this video that says, what fats and oils hurt versus help explainer video, Brooke walks you through exactly what the whole story is behind all the fat. Now, I'll give you the history lesson on why all this fat, and this is one big differentiator. If you've compared our nutrition strategy to like everybody else's, then and wonder, well, what's a big difference between what we do and everybody else? Well, besides the results, one of the things is I understood a long time ago what omega-3 fatty acids did to the body, and I figured that out because I became friends with a biochemist who was in the fitness arena. He was formulating some of the most popular supplements in the world, and he also had a lab where they did all of the third-party nutritional testing, where if you're a supplement company and you need to go get your supplements approved, or you'd have to get like a third-party independent exam or analysis on your vitamin product or your supplement product. And so he had that lab that did all the testing. So he was able to tell me straight up which which companies were legit and were telling the truth on their nutritional labels on what they had, how much of each nutrient they had. But anyway, he was a really famous guy, and we became friends and hit it off because this was the guy that would walk into the club, and he's like, and when I say club, I mean the health club. He's like 60 plus years old, and he was like the most ripped dude in the entire club, and he was huge. I mean, he's like 200 pounds, just stacked full of muscle, and so I was all over his knowledge, and I would ask him all the time, what did he do? And it turns out he knew he was buddies with all the guys from like Metrics Nutrition. He was part of the bionutritional research group, and so he was one of the first biological body hackers that I became friends with. And he basically shared with me how omega-3s worked and how that's probably the most neglected part of people's nutrition are the omega-3s and minerals. And so he got me really into those, and I started using them for my own body transformation. I couldn't believe how freaking fast I was getting ripped, increasing my omega-3 fatty acids. And then I started testing them on my clients, and they were dropping fat like 3 to 4 times faster than my best result that I ever got with a client. So then next thing you know, that starts becoming a huge part of my program. So why do they work? It's because omega-3s are literally the raw material that makes up the membranes of your cells. And let's just look at your fat cells for a second. In order for a fat cell to actually get smaller and release some of the fatty acids that are in it, well, you actually have to get a chemical signal that attaches to the cell that tells the cell to release its fatty acids. And why omega-3s are so important is because your cell membranes are made of omega-3s and omega-6s. Always remember this, because when he told me this, it clicked. Omega-6s make your cells rigid. They're very inflexible when it's mostly omega-6s. Omega-3s make them very fluid and flexible. So if you're a cell and you're trying to receive a signal, if you're a fat cell and you're trying to receive a signal telling you to release your body fat, then you want the cell to kind of resemble a catcher's mitt and bend and flex and move around and wiggle so it can catch the chemical messenger and do what it's supposed to. When it's really stiff and rigid, if you throw a ball at somebody who's got their arms together like this, they can't catch it. Right? And that's what your chemical messengers are. But if you throw a ball at somebody who can move and bend their fingers, they can catch the signal and then do what they're supposed to do. So in short, when you start consuming a lot of omega-3s, then your cells literally become more flexible and fluid. And when they become more flexible and fluid, they're able to do what they're supposed to. So we're not doing anything magical. We're just basically enabling your cells to do their jobs that they were designed to do way better. So in short, I mean, we've done, gosh, I remember, I worked for a company that was the equipment manufacturer for the biggest, the HIIT TV show, The Biggest Loser. And I wrote all of their weight loss programs for their most advanced equipment line. And when I got to test them, we got a baseline on how much fat I was able to help people lose using this very expensive equipment line. I mean, it was like 50 grand to buy these things. It was insane. But we were averaging about 8 pounds per month of body fat loss. Then I added the omega-3s to their diet, and then that shot up to about 12 to 15 pounds of body fat loss in the same period of time, 4 weeks. It was incredible how quickly people were losing body fat with no change in exercise. All we did was we didn't take anything out, we added all these omega-3s. I mean, in my clients, they were eating up to 1,200 calories a day of omega-3 fats. So there's been a big, I don't know, there's just been weird propaganda. I don't even know if it's propaganda. I think it's just ignorance of how fats work in the human body. And it's just, I think a lot of people have been super scared of fats because they think if I eat fat, I'm going to get fat. There's a famous vegan doctor out there literally saying those words, and yet we're eating more fat than anybody else's clients, and we're smoking them in terms of results. So I'd say just even if I'm completely wrong on my explanation, the results are still there. We're still getting body fat loss at just record rates. Okay, there's your answer to there's a very long answer to your question. How important is stretching before and after workout? I think it's important to maintain flexibility. Absolutely. Barbara, I have recently been diagnosed with a rare vascular disease affecting several arteries. I'm also limited with spinal issues, and I have lupus, so I'm not able to run or lift weights over 20 pounds. I was told not to get my heart rate up over 100. I plan to walk for longer periods of time outdoors and try the elliptical at my gym. We can all do more. Good for you, Barbara. Awesome. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And listen, Barbara, if there's any way that you possibly can, get yourself set up with Brooke some way or somehow so we can get rid of that lupus. Okay, let's just get it gone for you. I know I've had a lot of discussions with a lot of people. I know for some people money is an issue, but geez, to know that you can live without this disease in like a matter of weeks or a short few months. Are you kidding me? Right? Okay. Patricia, do you think if you are older, I'm 59, it will take longer for the cells to become healthier, more flexible, and become free of disease? No, it does not. So this is a great question. The time that it usually takes is really more of a result of the number of consecutive years you've been abusing your cells. So age is not really that much of a factor. There are people that have been living mostly healthy for a long time, and then they go do something like paleo and then ruin their health temporarily and then come right back after they see us, right? So it doesn't, your number of years that you've been alive is less important than the number of years and how severely you've been abusing your cells and your body with nutrition. But even in those cases, geez, we've seen people that have done our healing groups that have been suffering from severe pain and certain symptoms. Pain is one of the first things that goes away, by the way. And they've been suffering it chronically for, no joke, decades. And like in 4 days, it's gone. I haven't seen any difference in age. I've seen very, very young people take longer to heal sometimes than much older people that are older than you. So the really only way to find out is to actually do it and then sit back and observe. Sarah, how else can we get omega-3s in our bodies besides chia seeds and flax seeds? How else can we incorporate into our meals? Well, the best way that we know, Sarah, is the best way that I know is with those two things. I've also had an okay experience with omega-3. We started with flaxseed oils and chia seed oils. Even before that, before we even became vegan, we were doing fish oil and cod liver oil, and then we switched to flaxseed oil and chia seed oil, and we were getting the same results. And then when we switched to actual whole flax seeds and whole chia seeds, we got the best results. So we're just sticking with what's doing the best for us. Kasia, please, best meal plan to get muscles. Kasha, what you're going to do is go to the videos section of our website, scroll down to the live webinars section, and you're going to see some webinars that I did. Building muscle is easy, part 1. Building muscle is easy, part 2. Part 2 is probably what you're going to be most interested in if you're just looking for the meal plan, because that just tells you exactly what to eat and how much. And then right above that, mastering fast muscle mass with smoothies. So those are the 3 main videos that you want to watch that'll help educate you on exactly how to build muscle. Our website, you go to smoothieshred.com. I'm assuming that's how you got in here, or did you sneak in by clicking on the group and then saying, yes, I registered at smoothieshred.com? Yeah. All right. I love you all watching from Kansas City. So January 21st, it's going to be our first webinar. We're going to just bang them out in 1 week. Okay, all 3 webinars, we're going to just rip them out in 1 week. And that way you just get the education all at once. I know it's just people don't have a lot of time, so that's why we decided to kind of compress it even more. So webinar 1 starts on January 21st. After the presentation is going to be a full live Q&A with the doctor herself, Dr. Brooke Goldner. I like to call her Brooke Tatlock. She's my wife. If you have any other questions, post them in the weekly question and answer post. That's the best way to ask your questions, and it'll give you the highest chances of getting them answered, because that's where we search. And for anybody else, you're going to search if you need any more support, or if you're wondering where all the other videos or posts that we've done that we've posted up on Facebook are, Just search hashtag support in the search bar for the group, and you'll be able to find all of our posts. All right, this is Thomas Tadlock. I love you all. Happy smoothie shredding.